Hey guys, so I mean, there's not really much I can say in terms of introducing this video because how many times do I have to talk about censorship? Like, there's only so much I can say. There's only so many videos I can make. It's fucking ridiculous. But this is a big one because, as we know, before any election, the censorship always goes into supernova because, as you know, it's the DNCs and in the left wing mainstream media. It's their way of trying to influence elections and rig it and steal it. For the people who just crawled out of Iraq yesterday, there are people who genuinely believe that it's the right who tries to rig things or have hoaxes or censor people or steal. But the complete opposite is actually the truth. It's always the left that does that in the Democratic left wing media and everything. And I mean, it's even obvious if you just research for a couple minutes. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. There's a reason why it's the left wing that literally owns the entire mainstream media, except for Fox. Like, for people who really think it's the Republicans who do this shit, are you really so dumb? You actually believe that one network, Fox, has more influence than literally every other news outlet in the entire fucking world? Because Fox is the only one that's right wing. Everything else is left wing. So I mean, it's obvious stuff, right? And then of course you have places like Project Veritas who are always exposing this kind of stuff. Even right now, they are currently exposing videos for ballot harvesting. There is this woman who is ballot harvesting to get Joe Biden to win in Texas. I mean, it's crazy what's going on, and that's literally the only way that the left can win is by just rigging and stealing, rigging Hillary Clinton, rigging against Bernie Sanders, currently rigging for Joe Biden. I mean, they never stop. But anyway. This one is about online censorship, which most of my censorship videos are about. And basically, Jack Dorsey was grilled to fuck by Ted Cruz, and it was amazing. We're going to be making a reaction to that in a couple seconds. But I think you guys should check out this video I made last March where Jack Dorsey literally admitted to censorship on Twitter. With that being said, let's get right into the reaction from Ted Cruz and Jack Dorsey.
Three witnesses we have before this committee today collectively pose, I believe, the single greatest threat to free speech in America.
Absolutely true. Of course, I do want to clarify anything that I think Ted Cruz says is wrong, and by think I mean is wrong, because I'm only going to speak facts for you guys, of course. It's not just censorship in America, it is censorship for the entire world. All the censorship that we see on social media is over here in Canada as well. So, I mean, we need to acknowledge that it's not just in America or Americans who are being censored or shadow banned or whatever. This has happened to me. I've been taken off YouTube multiple times. I've had my Facebook account deleted just for sharing an article that posted facts. It wasn't even that I posted facts that Facebook didn't like. I shared someone else's fucking post, and that's why I got deleted, showing that censorship gets worse and worse and worse, as I've been proving for years.
And the greatest threat we have to free and fair elections. Yesterday, I spent a considerable amount of time speaking with both Mr.
It's a huge threat to fair elections. That's why, their main goal is to influence elections and steal votes and all that stuff. But this goes out way further than just elections. This is also just a violation of human free speech online. People who just want to post anything controversial, it doesn't even have to be political. Those people will be censored off Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. It's crazy.
Mr. Zuckerberg and Mr. Pichai, I have concerns about the behavior of both of their companies. I would note that Facebook is at the minimum at least trying to make some efforts in the direction of defending free speech.
I really don't know what efforts he's referring to. Facebook is the website that deleted me just for sharing a fact that I didn't even write myself. Facebook has been known for also censoring people like crazy, but regardless.
Appreciate their doing so. Google, I agree with the concerns that Senator Klobuchar raised. I think Google has more power than any company on the face of the planet.
Oh, absolutely, because it's not just Google. Keep in mind that Google owns YouTube. So everything you see on there, all the corruption that you also see on there, from censorship, shadow banning, deleting videos, all the other horrible, awful things that YouTube does, is controlled by Google. I've also made videos proving, and you guys have seen this, videos proving that that Google completely changes their search results whenever you type something in. You type something in about, that's controversial, especially if it's about a corrupt person like Hillary Clinton, for example, and every result will be about Trump, because they manipulate the search results so that you only see what Google wants you to see. They actually do the exact same thing with the YouTube results, but it's even worse on Google's default search engine.
And the antitrust concerns are real. The impact of Google is profound. And I expect we will have continued and ongoing discussions about Google's abuse of that power and its willingness to manipulate search outcomes to...
Yeah, so he knows about the search outcomes being manipulated, the algorithm. He knows that Google is severely abusing their power just to influence people's not just opinions or votes, but their overall minds and what they think. And, again, they don't just choose articles they want you to see that are political. They choose all articles that they want you to see. Any fact that the government doesn't like will be removed from Google. And for all the dumbasses out there who are going to say that it's wrong because it's a conspiracy theory, it's not. And the evidence is very clear. And the most basic form of evidence I can give you is the videos where I literally proved it. But if you want something more direct, literally go on Bing, which does not censor results, by the way, and type in the exact same fucking thing that you type into Google, and you will see you get entirely different results. And the primary thing here when it comes to different results is that Bing will actually give you results for what you typed in, like word for word. Whereas Google, you'll find that even if your results are related to what you typed in, it's barely anywhere near your actual full-on search. It's ridiculous.
Influence and change election results.
Yeah.
But today, I want to focus my questioning on Mr. Dorsey and on Twitter. Because of the three players before us, I think Twitter's conduct has by far been the most egregious.
Yeah, for sure.
Mr. Dorsey, does Twitter have the ability to influence elections?
Yes.
No.
It's incredible that this fucking idiot says no. Twitter has been caught in the past. Jack Dorsey, I showed you my video before, Jack Dorsey even admitted to this last year.
You don't believe Twitter has any ability to
I don't think he needs to believe it, Ted. He's the one fucking instigating it.
influence elections?
No, we are one part of a broad spectrum of communication channels that people have.
So you're testifying to this committee right now that Twitter, when it silences people, when it censors people, when it blocks
Yep, censors people, silences people, blocks things that they don't like. Yep, YouTube does the same thing.
political speech, that has no impact on elections?
People have choice of other communication channels with.
So there you go. As far as I'm concerned, that's basically Jack Dorsey admitting to it. He goes, well, people have choice of using other channels. You're not denying that you do censorship. What you basically said was that if people don't like it, go to a different website, admitting that you do in fact do it. Like, fuck, this guy's ridiculous.
Not if they don't hear information. If you don't think you have the power to influence elections, why do you block anything?
Yeah, good point. If he doesn't think they have the power to influence, why block it in the first place? But it's quite obvious. I mean, they do have power to influence, and they've been doing that for a long time. Everything they do influences stupid people into changing their opinions or votes or whatever. They did it throughout the entire 2016 election. There's a reason why the mainstream media talked about the Russia hoax, which was fucking debunked for 3 straight years, because they were trying to convince people that it was true. Everything is about influencing people into what they want you to think. Side note, by the way, I find it really funny that the people who scream conspiracy theory at any fact that they don't like are the same people who believed the conspiracy theory about Russia, which was debunked. So basically, if a conspiracy theory is wrong, people will believe it. If a conspiracy theory ends up being proven true, they don't believe it. Gotta love human psychology.
Well, we have policies that are focused on making sure that more voices on the platform are possible.
No, you don't. You censor as many voices as possible if they disagree with you. When you say we try to make sure that people voices are heard, you're only referring to SJW voices who vote Biden or Hillary or just in general disagree with anything correct.
We see a lot of abuse and harassment, which ends up silencing people and having them leave from the...
What abuse and harassment? See, that's the thing. We got to be careful when people use these SJW terms that don't really make any sense to a rational human being. You know, keep in mind, as we know this, like when SJWs, for example, say the term hate speech, what they're actually referring to is just any speech that offends them. When in reality, hate speech means like racism or calling for violence or something like that. But to an SJW, hate speech just means speech that I disagree with. And I think what he just said is basically the same thing. It's his interpretation of violence or cyberbullying or whatever.
All right, Mr. Dorsey, I find your opening questions, your opening answers absurd on their face.
So do I.
Let's talk about the last 2 weeks in particular. As you know, I have long been concerned about Twitter's pattern of censoring and silencing individual Americans with whom Twitter disagrees.
Yep.
But 2 weeks ago, Twitter and to a lesser extent Facebook crossed a threshold that is fundamental in our country. 2 weeks ago, Twitter made the unilateral decision to censor the New York Post in a series of 2 blockbuster articles, both alleging evidence of corruption against Joe Biden. The first concerning Ukraine, the second concerning communist China. And Twitter made the decision
Yeah, that and also the little Hunter Biden story that I don't really personally care about. My point, for me, it's all just about censorship. And everybody who was talking about the Hunter Biden story and talking about how it's been proven true, well, it got censored because we can't have people posting facts when we're trying to get Biden elected. You know, that's not allowed, right? We got to be cautious.
One, to prevent any user, from sharing those stories. And number 2, you went even further and blocked the New York Post from sharing on Twitter its own reporting. Why did Twitter make the decision to censor the New York Post?
We had a hack materials policy that we...
When was that policy adopted?
In 2018, I believe.
In 2018, go ahead. What?
Yeah, we had a policy adopted 2 years ago that allowed us to censor more people at a faster rate who disagreed with our bullshit.
What was the policy?
So the policy is around limiting the spread of materials that...
Ted, let me finish the sentence for you. Limiting the spread of facts that interfere with the mainstream media, brainwashing people into voting for pedo Biden.
We didn't want Twitter to be a distributor for hack materials.
Bullshit.
We found that the New York Post, because it showed the direct materials, screenshots of the direct materials, and it was unclear how those were attained, that it fell under this policy. Now,
so in your view, if it's unclear the source of a document, in this instance, the New York Post documented what it said the source was, which it said it was a laptop owned by Hunter Biden that had been turned into a repair store. So they weren't hiding what they claimed to be the source. Is it your position that Twitter, when you can't tell the source, blocks press stories?
Not that really matters. The truth is and always will be, the Hunter Biden story was factually true, and that's why it was censored. If it was false, they wouldn't have censored it.
No, not at all. Our team made a fast decision.
All of your decisions are fast. That's why they don't make any fucking sense. None of the staff at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Google have enough brain cells to even make a decision or think before making a decision. Everybody who works for these companies is a fucking SJW, which is why they censor any speech that they find offensive or don't like or goes against the SJW fucking narrative bullshit. Everybody who works for you is a fucking pussy. For God's sakes, all of these companies, when Trump was elected, gave all of their employees like a month off and free therapy. Imagine being such a fucking pussy-ass little bitch that you need to take a month off work and get free therapy because Donald Trump won an election. I can't even imagine the kind of people who actually work at Google and stuff like that. They are just they're like children. Well, they're adults with the brains of children. I'm sure they have like safe space playpens over somewhere in the Google headquarters. You fucking deliberately hire dumbass fucking kids to, censor anybody who has speech that they don't like. These are the people who literally control the flow of information on the internet. We've already talked about this. What I just said is nothing new. I talked about this like fucking 5 years ago, but it's getting worse as time goes on.
Enforcement action, however, of blocking URLs, both in tweets and in DM, in direct messages, we believe was incorrect. And we changed it
today, right now.
No, you believe it was correct, and that's why you blocked it.
The New York Post is still blocked from tweeting 2 weeks later.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, they blocked the New York Post just because they posted an article stating facts. And 2 weeks later, they're still blocked, and Jack Dorsey's fucking excuse is so stupid.
To log into their account, which they can do at this minute, delete the original tweet, which...
So he's saying New York Post can only fucking post again if they log into their account and delete that post. So, again, like, why not just admit that you're a censoring piece of shit? They can only post again if they delete a post they've already made. So you're basically holding them hostage because they told a fact you don't like. Piss off.
Under our original enforcement actions, and they can tweet the exact same material in the exact...
But what the fuck are you talking about? How can they post the... What actually, what's the point? Never mind how. What's the point? He just said they have to log in, delete the post, and then they can post the exact same thing. Then what the hell's the point of fucking deleting it? You're just making an excuse. As far as I'm concerned, all that means to me is they're going to have to log in, delete it, they can post again, they can post the exact same thing, your words, and then you'll just block them again. Fucking asshole.
Exact same article, and it would go through.
So, Mr.
Yeah, I'm sure it would go through. Fuck yourself.
Dorsey, you're a bit...
If the post itself is allowed because it would go through, then why not just uncensor the original one? It's the same post, apparently.
The reality is you have the power to force a media outlet. Let's be clear. The New York Post isn't just some random guy.
Well, the New York Post is not some random guy, but in all fairness, Ted, this should apply to everybody, not just the media. Random people like myself should also be allowed to post whatever we want. So I think him saying like, oh, they're the media, they should be allowed. I mean, yeah, okay, but so should random people.
Tweeting, the New York Post has the 4th highest circulation of any newspaper in America. The New York Post is over 200 years old. The New York Post was founded by Alexander Hamilton, and your position is that you can sit in Silicon Valley and demand of the media that you can tell them what stories they can publish, and you can tell the American people what reporting they can hear. Is that right?
No, this was...
The answer to that is yes, in reality.
This was every person, every account, every organization that signs up to Twitter agrees to a terms of service.
That would be fine if you actually followed it, but you don't follow the terms of service. YouTube doesn't follow their own terms of service. Facebook doesn't follow theirs. Google doesn't follow theirs. So what's the point of a terms of service? And not just what's the point of it existing, but what's the point of you preaching it? You don't fucking follow it. You willingly go against it because the terms of service has no legal hold on you. Yeah, I was told that by a lawyer when I was trying to get information about my Facebook account being deleted, by the way.
Terms of service.
So media outlets must genuflect and obey your dictates if they wish to be able to communicate with readers. Is that?
Yep, you must follow the fucking dictatorship of Susan Wojcicki, Jack Dorsey, and Mark Zuckerberg, or else you're kicked the fuck out.
Right?
No, not at all.
Yes.
We recognize an error in this policy, and specifically
an error. An error? Is that one error of 2 billion over the last 10 years? Same question for Facebook, YouTube, Google, and Instagram, by the way.
The enforcement.
You're still blocking their posts. You're still blocking their posts. Right now, today, you're blocking.
Keep pushing, Ted, because you're doing fucking awesome.
Their posts.
We're not blocking the post.
Yes, you are.
Can tweet.
Can the New York Post post on their Twitter account?
If they go into their account.
No, is your answer to that. No, unless they genuflect and agree with your dictates. Let me ask you something.
fucking dickhead.
You claimed it was because of a hacked materials policy. I find that facially highly dubious and clearly employed in a deeply partial way. Did Twitter block the distribution of the New York Times' story a few weeks ago
Yes.
that purported to be based on copies of President Trump's tax returns?
We didn't find that a violation of our terms of service and this policy.
Of course not. Any post, any post on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube that is anti-Trump does not violate your service. But any post that is anti-Biden does violate it. How interesting. I wonder if that's just a big, massive coincidence, or if you're in cahoots with the mainstream media and the DNC to promote and manipulate people into voting for whoever you want. Yeah, I think the latter is the true one.
In particular, because it was reporting about the material. It wasn't distributing the material.
Okay, well, that's actually not true. They posted what they purported to be original source materials, and federal law, federal statute makes it a crime, a federal felony, to distribute someone's tax returns against their knowledge. So that material was based on something that was distributed in violation of federal law, and yet Twitter gleefully allowed people to circulate that. But when the article was critical of Joe Biden, Twitter engaged in rampant censorship and silencing.
Good job, Ted.
And again, we recognized errors in that policy. We changed it.
You don't recognize any errors. First of all, they're not errors on your side because you do this on purpose. But either way, this is stuff that you push intentionally. No error is it's an error in the sense that it's a bad thing, but you do it on purpose. So
24 hours. This is.
But you're still watching the New York Post. You haven't changed it.
We have changed it. They can log into their account, delete.
No, they can't. As soon as this fucking call with Ted is done, if they log in and then try to repost the same thing, your words, you'll block it again.
The original tweet.
You fucking slime ball.
You forced a Politico reporter to take down his post about the New York Post as well. Is that correct?
Within that 24-hour period, yes. But we, as the policy has changed, anyone can tweet
so
the
Twitter take.
One thing I love, again, for everything, not just Twitter, is how they change their policies on a whim, just so long that it fits their narrative.
You can censor the New York Post, you can censor Politico, presumably you can censor the New York Times or any other media outlet. Mr. Dorsey, who the hell elected you and put you in charge of what the media are allowed to report and what the
there you go.
American people are allowed to hear? And why do you persist in behaving as a Democratic super PAC?
They all do, though, Ted. They all do. Susan Wojcicki's the same thing. Mark Zuckerberg is the same thing. They all are.
Silencing views to the contrary of your political beliefs.
Let's give Mr. Dorsey a few seconds to answer that, and then we'll have to conclude this segment.
Well, we're not doing that, and this is why I opened this hearing with calls for more transparency. We realize we need to earn trust more. We realize more accountability.
We need to earn trust.
To show our intentions and to show the outcomes.
This fucking guy.
So I hear the concerns and acknowledge them, but we want to fix it with.
Jack, shut up. This whole bullshit. Oh, we acknowledge concerns while actively ignoring them and making them worse and worse and worse every fucking year. Piss off, eat shit. Here is an article from the New York Post about that call between Ted Cruz and Jack Dorsey. Twitter Jack Dorsey dickhead sounded like every mob enforcer and shakedown artist in history. Nice paper you got there, New York Post. Shame should something happen to it. He knows full well media outlets depend on social media and Google's search algorithms to help readers access our reporting. He tried to claim it was all a mistake. Yeah, fuck this dickhead. But anyway, this article is just about what happened, and it's bullshit, but I mean, what else do you want me to say? It's been bullshit for years. There's nothing really new here except for the specific story. It's just the same action over and over and over again done to someone else for a different reason. And it's gonna keep getting even worse unless we fucking do something, but I don't really know what we can do. The only thing I can do at this point is just keep reporting on it, but I've been doing this for 6 years, and while hoping for censorship to go away, it's only getting stronger. And I'm fucking tired of it. I'm fucking tired of it. I've made so many videos on online censorship and all that stuff. But if you want really strong information that is like where people who are within these companies admitting to it, check out Project Veritas. They will teach you things that will blow your fucking mind if you just now crawled out of a cave. See you later.